There's a hawk right out the door. Sharp shin. This is a first. Never had a hawk. That was cool. 69, 651. Of course we've had a hawk. Just haven't had it land out the door when we're doing weather and more. Come on out, Steve. Go get that hawk. I dare you. Watch out, the hawk might get you. So that's kind of fun. Start your day like that. You never know what's going to happen when you go out the door for weather and more. Just a few minutes ago, the sun was shining underneath the cloud, and it was all kind of purple over there. We just missed that, unfortunately. Little bit of wetness on the tubing. It rained off and on yesterday, but more off by afternoon. Turned into a fairly nice afternoon. The wind, which was so strong from the northeast, let up fairly quickly. Very little in the way of wind. Again, in the last 24 hours, the maximum gust on Mount Washington was 14 miles per hour. This morning it's from the south at 6 or 7 miles an hour on Mount Washington. But here on the Fore River, I'm not sure what to call the wind. Kind of still. All the flags are still. The tide is low. Those boats are pointed toward the east there, but they're pointed toward the west there, and the birds are working. Where are the fishermen? Where are you? The birds are catching all the fish. Anyhow, there's not a lot to hang your hat on this morning, although from space, looks very impressive, doesn't it? You got that cyclonic cloud over New York State. Some flash flooding in western New York this morning. You have those big, huge thunderstorms off to the south of Cape Cod. That's the front that kind of went by yesterday and settled off to the south with the low off in Nova Scotia. And you have a high pressure system over the Gulf of St. Lawrence and the St. Lawrence River Valley. It's only about a 10-16 high pressure system. And that's pretty much supplying the air moving from high pressure in southeastern Canada to several low pressure systems, one in western New York, another over New Jersey, another east of Cape Cod. So the bottom line is we have a light flow from in off the ocean here at lower altitudes. Way up in the sky, the air is from the west and southwest, but it's not really pushing this weather system through very fast. So the forecast for today, mostly cloudy. There are some raindrops coming across Connecticut. We might get clipped by a shower or two here. The sun should break through this afternoon. I think it's gonna be a fairly nice afternoon. Oh yeah, it's race day. Is it? Is it Wednesday? I'm losing track. Now, what's that thing doing out there in the middle of the water? It's just kind of sitting there. It looks like a dredge, but I haven't seen anybody working on it. Anyhow, as far as the sailboat race goes this afternoon, this evening, I would say it's gonna be from the east at about 5 miles per hour, maybe, something like that. If we get the sun to come out, it should be a little stronger with the orographic heating of the day. Could cause a little onshore flow enhancement of the air, but there's not much air moving. And that's the problem with tomorrow. So we're going to wake up to these clouds and fog tomorrow morning. The temperature in the dew point, the red line and the blue line coming together tonight near 68 degrees. So we'll wake up to 68 and mostly cloudy with fog tomorrow morning, and then that kind of tries to burn off. But again, there's no push to get rid of that low-level moisture, almost an inversion setting up here. So near the coast tomorrow, again, only in lower 70s. Just can't shake this kind of almost this springtime pattern, but with the water temperature in the 60s, your temperature is going to be in the 60s. Water temperature in the 70s south of Cape Cod, so it could be in the 70s with some beach weather perhaps developing along the south coast tomorrow. And it's been beautiful in Maine. Look at that in Greenville, Moosehead Lake this morning, just gorgeous. And look at this web camera we supplied to Flagstaff Lake in Eustis, Maine. And look at all that temperature data. That temperature data at the bottom of that comes from a tempest weather system. Tempest weather system like that one right there, and a webcam like that one right there. Focus, the one on the right. If you want one of those systems, just let me know. We do it, Mike McCormick and I. What do you see, Steve? What do you see? I see gray sky lasting until the front gets here on Friday. Now, on Friday, there is going to be a lot of air moving, but unfortunately, this boundary to our south is going to kind of deflect the southerly wind over the top of a lingering warm front, and that's going to create showers and thunderstorms, again, Friday morning into Friday afternoon, but by Friday evening, it looks like that's gone offshore. And the forecast for the weekend kind of still so-so. with northern New England seeing the instability, clouds, and a few orographic showers, upslope type showers. If it were winter, those would be snowflakes if it were winter. But most of these rainstorms, we've been talking about this, even if it was winter, they would have been mostly wet ones. I know the El Nino's coming and everyone wants to know, what's El Nino going to do for our winter? Well, my snow skiing friends are eager for that intel. Well, we do have the negative North Atlantic Oscillation, and that usually means you get the cold blocked up in eastern Canada. So there are some positive signs for my winter friends. Things would have to change, though, in the storm track department. You need more of the lows going to the south. Oh, yeah, and speaking of that, lows going to the south. You know, I talked about it about 8 days ago. Around the 15th and the 16th, it should warm up with low pressure tracking to our north. But every time I've said that this month, the low pressure ended up along the south coast of New England. And sure enough, next Wednesday, we talked about it yesterday, next Wednesday, it looked like low pressure going across central Canada would warm us up. Maybe a hot day with temperature of 90 for the first time, but that's changed. Look at the low pressure system now for next Wednesday from the Euro, right along the south coast, almost identical to what's happened this week and how the 8 to 10 day forecast evolved and then verified with the air coming from the northeast. It's just not going to heat up. And that's the new forecast for next Tuesday, Wednesday. Well, I'm glad we're changing it now. And of course, it'll change again. Weather works in waves and weather forecasts work in waves. Here we are at the rain gauge, and we picked up another 0.31 on top of the 3.6, call it 0.67. And I find it interesting that even though the low pressure went along the south coast, the most rain in eastern Massachusetts yesterday was in Lawrence, Massachusetts. About 7/10, and the most rain in Massachusetts was around Westfield at 1.4. So I call that the lean cold rule. When you have a warm front off to the south, the warmer, more humid air goes over the top of the cool front, and the deeper you are into the slightly cooler air, the better chance you have for heavier precipitation. That's why often those snow forecasts of heaviest snow along the south coast do not verify. It ends up being inland. So there are some analogies to winter going on right now in New England. Yesterday, went to a fabulous band that have been around like 30 years, but I never saw them before. There's no T in rain. Yes, there is a T in rain now. Terrain. And Pat Monahan, lead singer for this, is just fabulous. He kept breaking into different voices. He used to be in a Zeppelin cover band that covered Zeppelin, covered Tom Petty. I can't even think there was, I think I heard some Beatles in there. What a fabulous show. And there's no place better than the Cape Cod Melody Tent or here at the South Shore Music Circus in Cohasset. Highly recommend going to see music there if you haven't done it yet. So that was really fun. Leave you with some T-Rain, T-Rex, and TK signing out from the pumpkin patch. That's a boy pumpkin right there. Talk to you later. Turned into a really pleasant evening. The wind let up, the rain let up. We had a little bite at locales, and now off to one of my favorite music venues. 67 degrees and not raining in Cohasset. You ever heard of the band Train? Drops of Jupiter?
ask us back, but I gotta be real honest with you. I don't even know how to get off this fucking stage right now. I don't know if it's anything, I don't know, we're gonna show you there. And plus, we're having an incredible time. Did you all have fun tonight? Well, I'm just gonna ask, because I'm too old to mess around with those encores anymore. Because we're having an incredible time and you are having fun with us, can we stay a little bit longer?